All right. Hello, everybody. And you know what's really stupid? It's the Facebook and the various different systems out there. It's those linking systems that give you the previews on places like Facebook and Twitter and Minds.com and all that. They don't work properly. Every time I send a link to the live stream, it gives me the wrong preview details. So some of you are seeing a title of Social Justice is Fascism. That's a previous live stream I did. Others are seeing something about Laurier lied to Lindsay. That's a previous stream as well. What I'm going to talk about today is how to destroy your business in 3 easy steps. And it's really simple, actually. Now, so let's just jump right in. Well, first of all, good morning. I am Steve Britton, of course, speaking freely on Friday, December the 15th, I think. I've lost track. I lose track of the days of the week. You know, I know what day it is. It's Friday. That's because I got to pick my kid up at halfway through the day because the Calgary Board of Education has decided to make schools half days on Fridays. But other than that, it's the same as any other day, really. So, there's that. Anyway, getting to where I was going here. How to destroy your business in 3 easy steps. Here's step number 1. Step number 1 is ideologically punish people for the things that they say. Also known as blame people you don't like for the actions of others. I'm looking at you, Twitter. And you haven't learned from your mistake because you keep doing it. The Twitpocalypse is just around the corner. It's going to happen on Monday. This is when Twitter's whole new user guidelines take effect, and they're going to be cracking down on what they claim is hate speech. Unfortunately, what Twitter has done is they blame the actions of others on people with a lot of influence, even though the people with that influence aren't actually the culprits. This has happened to me. Cat Black did it to me. It wasn't Cat Black's fault what the people said, and you can find that actually in the first video I ever did. But she sent out a tweet expressing a different opinion to one of mine, and I got pounced on by a Twitter mob of harassment. And as you can see here with this headline that I've actually put on the site here, it happened to Milo back in 2016. They kicked Milo Yiannopoulos off their platform. They've kicked Sargon of Akkad off their platform, and they've taken away the verification mark of Richard Spencer, and so on. They are punishing people for having ideologies they don't like. What did Milo do that was so bad? Well, Milo wrote a review of the movie Ghostbusters, which was a social justice warrior-inspired film. Now, I've got to be honest with you, I actually enjoyed the film. But when I watched it, I watched Ghostbusters not for the whole social justice aspect. I simply watched it for the story. I think I'm one of the 3 people in the world who actually liked the movie, because I thought the story was actually quite funny. Yeah, it was far-fetched at the end, and yeah, it went a little bit over the top, and yeah, it had a queefing joke in it. Look it up. And yeah, it was all women, and yeah, it was what it was. But the jokes were witty, the jokes were funny. Leslie Jones's character was what you would expect from someone who works in the role that they put the character in. But a lot of people didn't like the movie, and I can understand why. Because it became 3 token women doing jobs in a remake of a film which was really, really good to begin with. And they had their male token snowflake receptionist guy who was an absolute moron who couldn't do his job properly. And they had Leslie Jones cast in really what was a stereotypical role. And it was demeaning to her. And Milo wrote this. And he wrote a few tweets which ridiculed Leslie Jones's appearance. They were rude, they were mean, but they weren't racist in any way. They were simply, Milo said, I think I dated this person. Milo, by the way, likes black guys. Unfortunately, what happened was a whole bunch of people started sending Leslie Jones racist slurs. So Twitter blamed that on Milo and kicked him off the platform. It wasn't Milo's fault, though. Milo is not responsible for the actions of others. But because Milo is a public figure and because Milo is a conservative, Twitter blamed him and kicked him off the platform. That's step one. Blame people you don't like for the actions of others and punish them for it. Step number 2. Employ arbitrary and ridiculous policies for people that you are planning on enticing to come to act as a draw for people to come to your event. Refuse to negotiate on them when people point out the stupidity of them, and double down on your approach and piss off the people you need to act as a draw. Case in point, the Kilroy Conference and Tim Pool. And Tim Pool, in my view, did the right thing. The Kilroy Conference brought about a whole system of non-disclosure agreements for people they wanted to come and speak. And the non-disclosure agreement included nobody can film anything at the event or talk about it for up to 3 years after the event is done. Now that's a problem. Because people like Tim Pool are journalists. If they see news happening, they record it. And so they should. And then, of course, what did Kilroy do? They doubled down and said, well, this is all about safety of our guests. No, it isn't. Safety of your guests involves a contract between the organizers of the event and the guest to provide appropriate safety and security for the guest. That includes keeping things like the guest's place of residence, the guest's hotel that they're staying in, the guest's method of transportation to and from the event, and the guest's bodily security while at the event safe. That is what safety is. The duty of care for that particular aspect does not extend to Tim Pool as another guest. It is not his responsibility to keep your guests safe, Kilroy. It is yours. If you want to have an NDA, you want to have a time limit, and you want to own the content of the media that comes out of your event, you can do that. So what you do is you put an embargo on it. You say all information coming out of the event from channels other than our official ones is embargoed until 24 hours after the event ends. That's much more reasonable. And that is actually far more normal, I think, than what you tried to do. Then there was the non-compete clause. Basically, that said that anybody attending the event was not allowed to attend other events or other activities or anything that was in any way deemed to be competitive to the Kilroy event. And that could be interpreted as anything that was news in the Phoenix area, which would immediately mess up Tim Pool's business for that area. If news happens in Phoenix, he's going to want to cover it. And a non-compete clause would have destroyed that opportunity for him. So he was damn right to pull out of the event. What they should have done there is not included a non-compete clause at all. Just say, yep, Tim, come to our event. Everything's embargoed for 24 hours. We're going to make sure that you're safe. We're not going to disclose where you stay, how you're going to get here, or anything that would expose you to any form of danger while you're here. And in return, you come, you have a good event, you can film things, but you just ask that you don't release anything until 24 hours after the event ends. End of story. Problem solved. Everyone leaves happy. Everyone has a good event. Tim gets to speak. Everyone comes to see Tim. Kilroy makes some money, and everything is good. Except you guys screwed it up. That was step 2. How to screw up your business in 3 easy steps. And now step 3. This is kind of related to step 1. Continually screw up everything that you do. Patreon, well done. On this one, you're going to get the Moron of the Moment Award. I think you really do deserve the Moron of the Moment Award. And just let me get this ready to go here and we'll roll with it. Whoops. Yes. And I don't know why that's not working. So we'll do it this way. There we go. Patreon gets the Moron of the Moment Award. And what for? Well, they messed up. They've messed up big time twice now. First thing that they did was they booted Lauren Southern, a very prominent conservative newsmaker, who wasn't even a newsmaker, but she was a reporter of news, and they accused her of directly being involved in activities which could lead to people being killed, which she was not doing. She was reporting on events trying to stop people from illegally entering Europe, which would not get people killed. Trying to stop people from illegally entering Europe. In fact, she was trying to save lives. And then, less than a year later, they decided to mess around with their fee structure. What they were going to do, and they've obviously, because I'm showing you an apology page, they've decided to roll back and put pause on this, and rightly so. What they did is that were going to charge 35 cents on every contribution made to PayPal, not to PayPal, but to Patreon. What would happen is people who give, let's say, $10 to $1 to 10 different creators on Patreon would find themselves charged an extra $3.50. That's 35 cents for every transaction, plus like 2.5% or something. They charge you this for the privilege of paying somebody else. And in the meantime, they were going to reduce the amount that they took from their creators. That is asinine. You never charge the person paying the person. You always charge the person being paid a service fee. That's the standard procedure, the standard practice, and everybody running a business realizes that that's the cost of doing business. You don't penalize people for paying others, ever. It's ridiculous, and Patreon got hit hard for it, and rightly so. Some people like me, and I supported a few people on there, have left the platform. I don't use Patreon anymore. I don't ask you to support me on Patreon either. I found another site that I'm using, and it's not about being a disaffected patron person or a free speech advocate. It's all about using the platform that works best for me. It's smart business. So Patreon has really shot themselves in the foot, and that's step 3. So there's your 3 steps. Arbitrarily and stupidly blame people for the actions of others. Mess around with stupid contracts with people that you're working with to act as a draw to your conference. And lastly, screw up again and again and again and penalize your customers, or penalize the people who pay others. Those are your 3 steps. So there we go. That's Friday, December the 15th, 2017. Christmas is just around the corner, so expect that the show will be preempted for, I don't know when it's going to happen. We're just going to keep going until we don't go anymore. And then into the new year, I'm looking at some other things as well, so it'll affect the schedule a bit. But I do plan on continuing doing the podcast. It just might change form and change frequency again. So we'll see what happens. But I want to thank you for watching today. And, well, all else being equal, I'll see you on Monday. I'm Steve Britton. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this. And if you want to see more, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. You know how to do it. There's a little bell icon down below. There's a little subscribe button down below. And as well, you can find me in a number of different places on the internet. You can find me on Facebook with Steve Speaks Freely. You can find me on Twitter at SCBritton. And of course, there's 2 very important places that you can also find me. This is where, if you want to support the show and help me expand the audience and do all the stuff that us creators try to do with their shows, you can find me on minds.com, minds.com, at SCBritton. And you can wire me points, and you can wire me a few bucks if you choose to. You can try wiring me some ducks if you like, but I don't think they're going to get anywhere. And the other place that you could find me, and it's a brand new site, it's called makersupport.com. So you can check me out there as well, also at SCBritton. So remember that, SCBritton, BRITTON, and you can find me in all those different places. And above all else, please do subscribe. And also comment. I like to know what you think, so give me some comments while you're at it. Thanks.